Okay, it's recording my audio now. God, we've had so many.
Just the ramblings of madman.
Yeah, we were just
Alright.
talking to each other. Okay, so take 3, episode 1, CB podcast. We're talking about Poland. So,
Talking about
Mega,
Poland.
Mega being the general of the only Polish army, me being the king of the,
And Millerist being the president prime minister
yeah,
of the
whatever,
group.
whatever it was called.
Which was a total switch up from when we were just planning it. Because um, I think, if I remember correctly, when we were planning this all out, way before it actually became a group, got verified, did anything cool. Um, in the planning stages, I wanted to be the leader, and I had hoped to be the leader because for the longest time, I had never led a group. I had been in many groups. I've been in higher up positions. I've administrated things, but I've never led a group, and so I wanted to lead a group, especially when, with the previous group we had attempted France, that had fallen through because there wasn't a solid leader to take hold of development. That was a big problem with France.
Right,
We were a great group on paper, but in actuality we had no place, no weapons of any sort, and no uniforms. All we ever did really of note was a little PR skirmish battle, whatever it was, with I'm blanking on his name, but he was somebody relevant back before Chickens Germany.
right.
I think it was him and Daryl's Italy. Could be wrong, but I think it was. But
Stormcloak?
um, um,
Because I think
no, I
back in
don't know.
France it was still Sardinia, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Sardinia. Yeah,
Yeah, because I
but it
remember
just
the.
eventually, but at one point it just became just sort of Italy was
Yeah,
referred to.
yeah. Yeah,
But that was
Poland,
cool.
there
I think it
was,
was
I
with
think,
Festum Barton.
yeah, I wasn't there for your France. That was before I think I came to CB. I think I knew about it. I might have been in the server, but I definitely wasn't involved with it.
Involved.
Yeah, I had been in it in a while, I think about like 3 or 4 months, but I was only, I think, a little while after France that I actually got involved. And I think that's around the
Mm.
time we started thinking about doing Poland. And Poland was a good group. Like, I remember our raids and our
And the
rallies. We
unique
got,
thing was, I think even after Poland, and before Poland, we had sort of a planning stage where we said, okay, well, what country do we want to do?
yeah,
And it
we did
was
take our
a whole
time with that.
variety. It was like I think Argentina, Brazil, um, I know Spain was one, France again, because I hadn't learned my lesson. Um, I think those are the main ones I remember, but it was like a sort of raffle. We just sort of picked different countries and said, oh well, that would be cool. Then then the cons come and we'll be like, oh well, that's isolated on the map. There's nobody around to really interact with. And then eventually Poland. I thought, I'm Polish. I
Yeah,
thought it would be a
Poland,
good
we just
idea.
went right in the middle there. And that
Yeah, and it
was
was a good
when
spot for
it was
activity.
like
Yeah.
the peak of Soviet like power too. That was when they were
Mm.
really them and Germany had stuff going on and
Well,
Lithuania,
it
I
was
guess,
it
was
was at
there.
that point was it
I
the
wouldn't, maybe not the
past Germany
peak,
and
but it was
modern Germany?
very tense. I think it was shortly after the Civil War that we came in because I think we waited for the war to be over because one of them wasn't friendly and one of them was, and then the friendly
Well, I
one
remember there
won.
was a Russia at some point, I think. I think Murphy was even involved with it,
I remember
but
Murphy's Russia, but I
I
don't think
think
that was around Poland. I think that might have been before.
maybe when we were pending, because I remember
Yeah, I remember when
somebody
we were pending, there
pledged
was a lot of
support.
stuff.
Well, yeah, there was a lot of support during the pending stage, and after we got past pending, nobody really cared,
Yeah,
which is a shame.
besides Germany and the
I think
Soviets.
that's the biggest problem was that we really didn't have much going, because in the pending stage there was so much potential for reasons to get activity, because when you have so many countries around you that are potentially, friendly or hostile, you have so much area for activity, and then that
Yeah,
gives you a reason to host PRs, battles, trainings, whatnot. But then when we got past the pending stage, nothing
because
really
we weren't
happened.
pending for so
Lithuania
long.
died.
Yeah, and by the
Germany was
time
like,
we
all
were
right, we'll be
verified,
friendly.
the
Yeah.
Civil War was over in Germany. Chicken won that.
Hmm.
Lithuania, I think, was like at the very end of its life cycle. It just disappeared. I remember that. And then
Yeah,
the
it just kind of
Soviets were
died.
just being the Soviets. So I think we might have, well, we took our time with Poland, but I think we definitely waited too long. We missed out on a lot of stuff that we could have been involved in. And
I think we could have extended our influence, at least,
oh
or at
yeah,
least
for
tried
sure.
to.
And I guess our activity with Poland wasn't too bad. I think like to get verified, we rallied 8. So we didn't even have to do a PR. We
Hmm.
just rallied. And that was cool because it was like I'd never seen a group do that before. Just rally 8. We didn't even need a like 5-man PR. I've never had a group like that do that since.
Yeah, we
Um,
had, let's see
so,
here,
so it
one,
was
two,
definitely
three, four,
promising.
five,
I
six, seven, yeah, 8.
Yeah, 8 guys. I
I think
think
it
even
was a little bit of a struggle though. I know we were like, please come and
yeah,
we'll uniform you,
and we just finally
but we
got all
did
of
it.
them.
Yeah.
And I think from then on, our rallies were probably only like 5 to 7 guys, which is, I guess, it's average for CB if you think about it. Because the thing with
Yeah.
CB is there's not a lot of new blood anymore. Maybe back in the day, with even like, say, Chicken's Prussia or Germany, there was probably like
Hmm.
10-man rallies more often, but you really just have to be a big nation to get that these days. I think
Yeah,
like,
it's basically just like who you are country-wise.
yeah,
Um,
like Ching, there's
who
no
do you have
shortage
in the
of
group?
like Chinese
Yeah.
people on Roblox that would probably be involved in a group like that, and I think that's why they were rallying 20 guys. Same with the Soviets, like the Russians, and of course
Yeah.
it's the Soviets. Everyone knows the Soviets, and there's a lot of people, even if they're
Yeah.
not Russian, that still want to be part of that. And I guess maybe with
And I think
Poland,
it's just Casus Belli, just it's
it is,
you know, it's such a niche era.
yeah, definitely Victorian, like Napoleonic. Um, if you're not modern, you're probably Napoleonic. It's probably a
Hmm.
safe bet if you're in this kind of community.
Because
But
all it seems is like
Victorian,
there's just ancient, Napoleonic,
yeah, no, I think
a little bit
it's
of colonial, World War
colonial. I
II, and
remember
then modern.
colonial being a lot bigger. When I first left Roblox, I remember seeing a lot of colonial stuff, and by the time I was back,
Oh yeah,
it had
Chicken
died out,
told
I
like
think.
all of what I had seen of him. He was just always colonial. There was always secondary groups
Yeah,
that sort of ran Prussia's and this and that. I
yeah,
think even after um, I can't remember if it was the first or second Germany he had. I remember there was constant like little attempts at making little small communities that he would have ran. Oh God, and I remember he tried to make this little fantasy thing,
ooh,
and it was this I don't even know. It was just this weird blend of Victorian stuff and sort of put a little bit after post Victorian, like early 1900s. Um, and it was just this weird sort of, I couldn't even understand it. It was just weird.
yikes.
And he paid like, I think it was 1,500 Robux for those G1 guns. And, well, what did you expect? The group died because, one, it wasn't creative, and two, he wasn't really able to sell anybody. Because it wasn't anything like, oh, that's cool, that's like a little mini Star Wars, you have something decent there I would support. No, it was just this random, like,
Yeah, it's
I
hard
don't even
to
know.
when it's not based on real life or it's something like defined. Because even when it's not something based on real life, like something fantasy, it has to be something I think like more concrete. And from what I've heard from that, what I remember from that like fantasy thing, whatever Chicken was doing, it wasn't. It was like you said, it was just like a weird
Ah,
mix of things.
that's it. Nova Chin, it was called.
Yeah, I think I remember the name.
They were Victorian something. I don't know. Uh, yeah, man, I got a little thing from Kyle where he's like, "Yeah, I'm acting more serious in this group, just trying to make myself a better person." Because before that, he was kind of a dick. He ate a lot, and he just kind of was not the greatest guy. But with this Novachin thing, which also another name drop is Isenland, very creative man, chicken. Um, but then he goes on to say, also, I found out Chicken has invested a lot of Robux for this group, and I want to help him. And then he goes on to say, he didn't just do Iceland, and he also invested more Robux to get Lenski's task for this group and other groups in the
Wow.
community. Um, Jesus Christ. Yeah, so that died hard.
Yikes.
Oh, God.
Christ.
But my relationship with Chicken's always been weird. It's been hate-love. It's
Yeah.
just,
The only time I
because,
really interacted with him was Poland. Like
yeah, and you probably got off unscathed because he is an interesting guy.
I've
He definitely
always
has something wrong
I've
with him.
seen him like I saw him do weird things in the Discord and heard about some
Yeah.
of the stuff he did, but I never really interacted with him outside of Poland. Uh,
Because I don't think many people realize this in Casus Belli, but I am one of the OGs. I was in
I
CB
know you've been in it longer
in
than I have,
2017,
easily.
and because I remember because that little time capsule thing, what's his face,
Otterite?
Cordoba guy, I don't know. Yeah, no,
Yeah, it's Otterite.
yeah,
He's doing
alright,
it.
sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the little, I forget what, I know he has something about it in his little time capsule, time vault. God,
There's
where
CB
is it
Time
at?
Vault.
I'm trying to find it.
Most of the stuff he
Okay,
has
yeah.
in here is 2019.
August 7th, 2017. After some time of practice reading, Casus Belli becomes less active and just dormant. In an effort to revive the community, at least temporarily, Germany, led by Chicken FF, and New Zealand, led by Derpius, declare war on the rest of the country. I was there for that.
Yeah, with the
That's
Chickens
how
Germany.
old I am. But the only thing, little caveat was, for how long I've been in. Um, when I was in the German Empire, he just never even acknowledged that there was a CB Discord. And even when he did, I was like, can I get access to this? Because he would always be like, oh yeah, they're not releasing the G2. What the hell is the problem? What's with that? I was like, well, can I, get access to this Discord? And then not a peep. So I was there, but I was never in the Discord,
Yeah.
which was a shame.
I remember Miller. I think Miller and Boko were talking about it one day in our friend group chat and invited us.
Mhm.
Um, and I
But
just kind of sat inactive in there for a while.
I think a lot of what I've developed in regards to Casus Belli has been from Chicken. That's the only nice words I have for him, because he's kind of like I sort of paint him as a Michael Scott. He's very just bizarre, and you can't stand talking to him because he's just so off the rails. But beneath that, he's very capable at what he does. He's a decent leader, or at least was a decent leader.
He
He
led Germany for a
somehow,
long time.
yeah, he was able to get activity, and he was able to find decent people. Sometimes, more often, he also got guys that clearly browse Reddit for a little bit too much. But he was a very capable leader. But at the same time, also a very he wasn't very good at the social aspect as he would argue. But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
never really learned anything development-wise. The main person I learned developing stuff from was some of the guys in Cascadia and some of my time in Italy or Sardinia. Somehow I was able to convince Daryl to let me have access to Palestro, and with that, I was able to sort of witness the man who created the alleged greatest raid map of Casus Belli. And I even did some stuff, and I was left in there. It wasn't like I was a little 5-year-old flying the plane.
Yeah, I've been that in projects before. The kind of idiot dev that you let do some random stuff to make him feel better about himself.
The only thing was like I remember one of the conversations we had at that point. I remember telling him, you should do something different with Palestro. I mean, it was a great map, but I thought there could be something new. There could be something better. So that's when I told him, you should do something different. But then, of course, when it happened, I left Sardinia,
Right.
and that's when he, of course, dropped the whole different terrain, the heights thing, but
Yeah.
I learned a decent amount from that, most smooth terrain, and in or around or before Poland, I offered Chicken, a little gift. I was like, listen, your Helgoland sucks, eventually.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I will try to fix it. And, it was brick. It's always brick. And I tried fixing it, but I couldn't because I'm not that good at brick. It's an ancient art form. So I was like, listen, I will do you a solid. I will make you a whole new map. And that's when Champagne came about. And I was already talking to you beforehand about how I thought it was an interesting little project because the whole mechanics of it was just reversed. I had the raiders defending it, the defenders who should be defending, attacking. I sort of tried to mimic Palestro's, because I thought Daryl and I were kind of in the same mental boat when it came to maps, because I really didn't like how, most of these guys, they make these maps, but there's nothing interesting. It's just, oh, we gotta, check off these things. Map, oh, that's checked off.
Right. Yeah.
And that's why I tried to, diversify a little bit. So the map was split. River, you couldn't swim in it. Toxic. And I got Daryl to help with that. He did his little things.
Like
I wish I could
Riverside.
have got to. Yeah, and I tried to polish it because even to this day I've never felt confident enough in any of my maps that they're professional, that I can see armies going about here. But
Yeah.
it was used, and eventually I would leave Germany, much to the ire of some of the members. I was talking to Sauce about it after I left, and I sent him a screenshot. I'll try and find it, but I had put a little farewell speech, and for whatever reason, they felt
Oh,
it
yeah.
necessary to
I remember
respond,
that.
and
What you were telling me
I,
about that.
oh yeah. I will reread it. It's for the podcast. So this was November 24th of 2018. Um, I would like to officially announce my resignation as